Hey guys, how's it going? I'm back with another 10 metal bands you haven't heard but should. This is a nice, quite varied one. So hopefully there's going to be some cool new stuff for you to check out here. First up, we've got doom metal release, Witchthroat Serpent. This is their new album, Swallow the Venom, on Zealot Records. It's just really nice, kind of electric wizardy, kind of riff heavy, sludgy, fuzzy doom with some nice traditional elements to it. But overall, it's just really driven, groovy, and just really immersive release for all the right reasons you want from a band like, I say, like Electric Wizard or Eremit or those kinds of bands as well. Tons of drive on the guitars, killer sound, nice production, good vocals, pounding drums, just the good fuzzy doom package. Next up we have Zealot Cult. This is Spiritual Sickness on Blood Harvest Records. It doesn't actually have the label logo on here, but obviously this is the tape. I saw these guys at Bloodstock, and I knew them beforehand, but this album is a great example of a band doing great worship of death. It's got loads of the kind of nice technical guitars, the old school groove, the kind of thrashy touches. Zealot Cult do a really good job in the vein like Gruesome do as well, of really cool death worship with so many kind of catchy Chuck Schuldiner style riffs that will just, I think it's really impressive. And I think as far as worship goes with the band, although you sacrifice some originality, bands like Zealot Cult and Gruesome do a great job of keeping a legacy alive. So check that out if you like death. Next up, this is no longer a band, but this is Blessed Realm's Doomography, which is 5 demos, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4 or 5 demos. Some people you may know from the UK metal scene, such as Cat Gillam from Uncoffined and Thronehammer and stuff. Chris Newby, who played on a couple of these, who runs UKM Records. Some other folks. Those are the two whose names immediately stick out to me that I know. But this is really cool. Traditional doom. If you like stuff like Solstice and Candlemass, you'll definitely dig this. Which label? All War with False Noise. Sorry, it's a really tricky logo, quite small, but Blessed Realm was a really cool project in the 90s up until 2000, and while it's no longer active, if you're someone who enjoys traditional doom and checking out small demos, especially from the UK scene in the 90s, this is definitely a good piece to have in your collection. I really dig this. I got it in a record shop and was like, hey, I know some of those guys, checked it out, and it's some really cool doom metal. Next up, we have Creeping Flesh with their new album, Into the Meat Grinder. I was going to say Tank Corps Unleashed, that's one of the songs. My apologies to the guys. They sent me this CD after I reviewed it, and if you read my review, you will know I really enjoyed it. It's proper Swedish death metal, like Dismember, tons of grooves, crushing guitar tone, a lot of kind of DBT, kind of like quite powerful sections, maybe easing off on the speed and using some nice mid-tempos. A lot of bolt thrower influences coming across here, not only in the theme but in the sound. Creeping Flesh, I think, is just generically enjoyable death metal. This is on Screams or Howls from the Underground, Growls from the Underground, sorry. If you like, I think this is a bit of something for everyone. It's brutal, it's kind of got doomy bits, it's got a lot of Swedish stuff. Like I say, who doesn't like bolt thrower? You get a bit of everything with this album, and I really like it. So check out Creeping Flesh if you want just a solid death metal album you can listen to again and again. Next up, we have a UK band, which is Damim. This is their brand new album, A Game of Nil on Apocalyptic Witchcraft. Comes with a cool poster, as you can see. This is the LP my buddy Johnny Wolf, who also works at Legions of Darkness, sent me. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's a really interesting album as well, because aside from the kind of Destroyer 666 and Nocturnal Graves and such kind of black and thrash bits, maybe some Whip Striker, bit of Volcano here and there, it's also got these really interesting like Voivodian kind of progressive guitars, I want to say, but it's more kind of a dissonant and not unrest, what's the word I'm thinking of, discomforting kind of progression, as opposed to maybe something a bit more obnoxious. It's not really technical in the way, like with sort of really picky riffs, it's just sort of unhinging, and I really like that. It's an interesting thing to mix with a black thrash release as well, and it's just a killer record. Damim were great at Bloodstock. I'm really glad I have this. I enjoyed reviewing it. I enjoy listening to the LP. And, you know, if you want some killer black thrash that still manages to do something a bit different from the other bands in the genre, Damim is the band you need to check out, because this is just insane. Next up, we have a bit more of a potentially known release, but this is one of those ones, it's known if you listen to that kind of stuff. If not, then maybe not. But it's Blasphemophager with their third album, The Command of Absolute Chaos, or The Third Command. Long titles. Nuclear War Now put this out, of course they did. You know, if you like Black and Death, War, bestial black metal stuff, you know, this is going to appeal. That's all I should need to say on it. You know, if you enjoy bands like Blasphemy, like Bestial Warlust, like Revenge, like Conqueror, check out Blasphemophager. That's a really hard name to say. This is really, it's also got this quite interesting kind of cosmic stroke anti-cosmic maybe theme to it. If you look at the song titles, if you guys can see those, which, you know, ties in a bit more with bands like Dissection perhaps than, you know, the other bands who just sing about kind of goats fucking nuns, stuff like that. So I guess it's different, but the music is very much in the vein of the bands I mentioned. It's a really cool release. If you like this kind of stuff, you're gonna dig it. There's not much more I can recommend about it. Unless you don't like war metal, then just don't listen to it, because you're not going to like it. Now, another band that is, again, potentially one a lot of you guys will know, or perhaps you won't, I don't know. But it's a classic band from the Czech Republic with, I think it's Czech Republic, it's not Czechoslovakia anymore, so Czech Republic makes sense. Maniac Butcher, this is their classic album, Massacre, but spelt weird, in the kind of style that Sadistic Executioner write stuff. It's really good traditional black metal. I mean, you get a lot of elements of stuff like Torquay, Darkthrone, Gorgoroth in the Norwegian scene. And if you think Czech black metal, you're probably drawn to think of Master's Hammer. They've not got these weird techno stuff. It is very traditional black metal. But it's fun, it rips, it's fast, it's evil, you know. It's got that kind of like Inquisition snarl, a lot like Immortal 2. It's just a really good band. In my opinion, the Czech scene isn't one that many people talk about comparatively to Scandinavia or Germany or France or the US or South America. I think Maniac Butcher are an essential band for the Czech scene. Next up, from a more typical country, I guess, for black metal is Bekëth Nexëhmü. I believe I say that right. This is the project of Leek and Swatted Elders, who you guys all know from me banging on about Kvelgeyst, Musmahu, and like a billion other things. All of his projects are goals. Bekëth Nexëhmü is like Kvelgeyst in terms of the atmospherics, but this is much more raw. It's a lot more melancholic. It's got this kind of droning guitar feel that's really bitter and cold, suiting the artwork, which is really kind of evocatively simple, I guess. But also, this is the reissue on Purity Through Fire. For those of you who want to check it out, they're the label to go to. I really like Bekëth Nexëhmü. Maybe not as much as Kvelgeyst, but that's because that's such a dense and recognisable sound. But this is just eerie and bleak, but still really powerful. So, if you don't already know Bekëth Nexëhmü, check this one out. Now, it wouldn't be one of my videos without some kind of weird, dissonant black metal now, would it? So, this time we have Kvelgeyst with their new album, Alkahest. They're from Switzerland. This is on Vendetta Productions. Don't let the stunning artwork and presentation fool you into thinking this is some lovely, peaceful atmospherics, because it has plenty of those. But then it has weird, distorting, convulsive kind of guitars, some quite jazz and psychedelic touches, which just made me think of Andervald, another record that I adore from this year. Kvelgeyst makes some unsettling music, but in a really kind of crisp and, I don't want to say relaxing, because this thing is fucking terrifying when it wants to be, but it's also stunningly captivating throughout. And I think, not only for me, but for many of you guys who I talk to on Instagram and stuff about recent releases and so on, I think Kvelgeyst is definitely a contender for Album of the Year. And thanks to Vendetta Records for delivering this strange piece. I really like it. And now finally, this is heavy metal bands you haven't heard but should. And heavy metal in its simplest form, still alive and kicking, we have Savage Master. This is the Black Hooves single on High Roller Records. They have a new album dropping in 10 days on Shadow Kingdom Records. I've reviewed it. It's fucking awesome. You can read my review on my WordPress if you so wish. Savage Master are just excellent, brilliantly fun, new wave of British heavy metal style stuff. You know, galloping bass, power chord guitars, pounding kind of tight drums, soaring vocals, all that good stuff. You know, like Satan, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Witchfind, Grim Reaper. I think Grim Reaper's actually probably the best example to compare these guys to. Well, guys and gal, because we have Stacey Savage offering some fucking awesome vocals, and I'm not underlining that on the merits like, oh, a female vocalist in metal. I couldn't actually give a shit. As far as I'm concerned, she's just a fucking cool vocalist, so props to Savage Master for making true British style heavy metal and doing it so well, and keeping a sound that's nearing 45 years of existence alive, kicking, and fresh. So, we've had doom, black, speed, thrash, bit of everything. I'd say this has probably been the most balanced video I've done in a while. The next one will be coming soon when all the bits arrive. As per usual, thank you for watching and stay metal.